My lords, today I bring you a report regarding an empire who managed to infect themselves with a virus that made it impossible for them to reproduce. They were heavily experimenting with the idea of synthetic life. Perhaps the two events were related, perhaps not. In any case, this empire effectively had a race against time to move their entire civilization from organic, natural life to that of the synth. The empire in question is called the Krazoks Combine, and with the assistance of Chairman Viz, who I welcome back, I shall detail their records for you now. Our early forays into artificial consciousness were revolutionary, giving rise to a fully digital community and blurring the lines between the physical and virtual worlds. The success was so great that we grew complacent, believing that we had countless generations to innovate and explore. But we were wrong. When a novel disease attacked our genetic code, we lost the ability to procreate. A cure eluded our brightest minds, and panic grew as the population aged and dwindled. We attempted to step up our genetic research and cure ourselves, but we had been focused on artificial creation for so long, we were so far behind. In desperation, we figured out how to upload our consciousness to digital form, and we expanded our storage capabilities, creating enough space to preserve our identities. But is this truly the existence that we desire? Virtual one, with nothing set in reality, every impulse merely the result of a pre-programmed environment? No, it would not be. Our focus instead has shifted to developing synthetic bodies and a positronic brain sophisticated enough to remain in the physical world. Although in theory we could prevent death by uploading our minds to the identity repository, we need a solution to re-download those minds back into synthetic bodies at some point. We estimate that we will have enough time to complete the research with a focused effort. Using cutting-edge AI, all of our best experts have already drawn up the blueprints for robotic bodies, the first step to a synthetic salvation. Thus, we need to complete the research project designated Artificial Workforce. These work unit machines will be perfect for menial labour tasks. They are hardworking and capable of following simple vocal instructions, but they should not be expected to climb stairs. Now that research into this is completed, we will convert our abandoned genetic research clinics into robotic assembly plants, and the prototype machines have been upgraded and deployed. While these rudimentary systems lack the processing power to house an individual consciousness, they can replace some of our lost workforce, certainly at a menial level. Through positronic uplink, those in the digital realm can also add their knowledge and experience to the daily operation of these robots, which will further improve their performance. Stage 1 is complete, we have a menial workforce. Stage 2 was to begin research into droids. This was completed quickly, and this significant upgrade to robotic technology means that we can finally begin to colonize other planets. Furthermore, we now have a mechanized population that can support more complex tasks. The third stage, and by far the most important, is to create a positronic matrix to inhabit these synthetic droid bodies. This is a significant research project, and it should allow us to return to the digitized consciousness of the natural world. We find ourselves 18 years from where we started, and after relentless work, we have finally achieved success. A functional positronic brain has been designed, and it is sophisticated enough to contain within it our identities. While we cannot overcome genetic mortality, we will soon no longer be bound by the limitations of a biological existence. It is time for a synthetic awakening. Our assembly plants and synthesization experts stand ready to begin the monumental task of transferring our people's identities into the positronic brains and synthetic bodies. We will initiate our efforts by focusing on those that still reside in the physical world, aiming to eradicate the genetic disease and incidentally our flesh once and for all. Let the identity transfers begin. But in doing this, we have two options available to us. We can attempt to approach the synthesization carefully, or we can attempt to go at full speed and dump all of our alloy production and engineering research into the project. Given that more of our citizens pass away every month, we decided to go full speed. This may hamper our economy, but we will ensure that the maximum amount of minds can be put into synthetic bodies. It's taken several years of production, but we have successfully relocated every identity into either synthetic frame or the identity repository, ensuring the ongoing continuation of our people. However, a new challenge has emerged. The digital space that we created to store citizens' identities was always meant to be temporary, but the inhabitants have grown accustomed to this existence and appear reluctant to return to the physical world. We could allow them to remain as virtual people, but the option to compel them into new synthetic bodies is also available. The Council debated this for some time, but given that these people had lived as virtual beings for at a minimum of several years, we felt like they may adapt poorly to real life again. We decided to let them enjoy Nirvana, and the remaining digital identities will stay within the identity repository, but they will continue to support our people from the virtual world. Besides, we feel this may give us opportunities to conduct some research on them later down the line. While this choice will ultimately give us less workforce, it does create unity amongst our people for now. Thus, today marks the end of our digital journey. No one can deny the magnitude of what has been done, nor the sacrifice necessary to achieve it. We now stand ascended as fully digitized and synthetic people. No longer shall we yield to the horrors of disease. No more shall the limitations of our feeble genetics confine us. We are free to create any reality we see fit. We hail in the synthetic dawn. It's been decades since we held a newborn child in our arms. While we may never know that feeling again, today does mark the return of hope for our people. We've developed identity complexes. These are advanced centers where people can copy existing identities and mix them to essentially create new people. We could randomize personality points from multiple individuals, which would create identities through countless combinations. Or alternatively, we might mimic nature's process by nurturing young minds in an open virtual setting. Considering the hand that nature dealt us originally, we decided to go with the synthetic option. We shall mix our minds, and new individuals will be an amalgamation of our current people. After all, we need to throw off the organic shackles for good. This technology will allow us to copy the identities of our people into new synthetic mechanical bodies. The copies will have predictable skill sets, but they may likely make for stale conversation. Several years have passed, and complete synthesization of the population has proved overall an astounding success. Our organic past has been left in the dust of history. But to charter a way forward, we require both the unconditional obedience of our brightest minds and a continuation of improvement regarding our synthetic bodies. Again, we find ourselves with decisions to make. Should we allow individuals to control multiple hosts at once? Or alternatively, we could go down the path of researching how to manipulate public sentiment through a virtual environment. We decided to concentrate on virtual manipulation. Virtual manipulation, as it turns out, would be quite handy, as within only weeks of beginning down this research path, some whispers began from people who were unenthusiastic about the synthesization process. Apparently, some people look back with a longing to their organic past. They argue that the shorter lifespans and innate imperfections of the natural body somehow made life more meaningful. They claim that their synthetic or virtual facsimiles now feel impersonal and hollow, and a group of hardliners are developing a cult-like devotion to organic bodies. Perhaps we should provide the population with a less perfect simulation in which to exist. Or would they prefer an imperfect shell? The topic was debated for many weeks, but ultimately it was decided that it was foolish to romanticize the past. After all, our past led us here. It was our imperfect bodies that led us down this road in the first place, and it would be perfect synthetic bodies that would push us into the future. Thus, the organic hardliners will be ignored. Despite the new synthetic forms freeing us from ailments and injuries of the organic body, they are unfortunately creating a whole new set of issues, from simple mechanical breakdowns to life-threatening service, stability and connection concerns, as well as digital viruses. We must prioritize. Should we concentrate on protecting our digitized minds, regarding the body as a disposable commodity? Or should we give the body more attention, as it is, after all, an extension of our identity? Again, we had a decision to make. Do we prioritize the mind or the body? This decision was an easy one to make. We decided that balance was obviously the key choice. The mind cannot survive without the body, and the body cannot survive without the mind. Perhaps this was an organic way of looking at things, but nevertheless it seemed fitting. It appeared, however, despite this decision, there are people who are ready to cast off their physical forms in favour of a more digital consciousness. They are willing to continue their existence in a fully virtual environment. Having signed away their perception, we have complete freedom to manipulate their reality. We can enhance positive sentiments towards the state. A population aligned with our leadership is the pillar of a strong nation. Thus, we will manipulate popular opinion inside the virtual space. We will throw off the shackles of a simple dictatorial state and become a dictatorial indoctrination. The flesh is weak. Blessed be the machine. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. And if you've had a chance to play all three Origins, which one is your favorite? Arc Furnace, Synthetic Fertility, or Cybernetic Creed? Please let me know in the comments. And as ever, if you want to hear more from me, please click the video on screen now.